Hello and welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this big blue ball. We are floating around in space. So good morning and welcome. So let's get to it. After we get into this good episode. Yeah, there we go. So thank you all for joining me today. And yeah, so hey, yeah, what's the week bringing us? Well, we got a lot going on. This is a new moon in Pisces, and it is conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. So Saturn sits in Aquarius, and it's at the end of the sign. So it's at 28 degrees. And then we have the new moon, which is at 1 degree. So the moon was at 1 degree. So it's at this conjunction point. This brings in um the past. This brings in endings and new beginnings. This is a where Saturn is like holding back. Will hold back the little fishies. We don't want you to go forward. So there's a holding back of where you want to go. Is that the stream you want to go on? Is that the place you want to go on? And this is where we are entering Pisces. Pisces is the dream. It is, you know, allowing ourselves to daydream, allowing ourselves to look at the things that we want to create. Saturn is the realization. You want to make it happen. What do you need to do? What are the tools do you need to do to create this? And what is still, this is this ending and beginning. This is letting go. This is looking at from a fixed energy to a flexibility energy. So we're going from fixed Aquarius to flexibility, mutable Pisces, right? It's ether. There is no boundaries, right? It's endless. We float everywhere, right? When we're in here, this is imagination. This is also looking at what we want to create, not only for ourselves, but in the world around us. This is also when we're setting into motion a lot of what it is that we want to manifest, because Saturn is moving into Pisces. Saturn will move into Pisces on March 7th. And with that, it's going to hit that 1 degree part in Aquarius, but it's going to hit it 3 times this year. This is where it is time to take our gifts and bring them to the table. It is time for us to allow ourselves to really put into play what it is that we want to create. And the 3 times it hits, it is from March 16th to 24th. And then it's going to hit it on September 22nd to October 11th. And then on November 28th to December 15th. So this year is a year of putting things into motion, and releasing the past, releasing what has been holding us on for however long. This is also a time when we're working with Pisces and the Piscean energy, because we will have Saturn and Neptune together for several years. Excuse me. Learning to forgive, we're learning to release, learning to not hang on to things. This is about not only our family, but our soul families, our connections with the soul family. This is a very spiritual time, and we're entering into a very time of bringing that spirituality into our life with definition. And as we were wanting to have this definition, this is where we are wanting to have answers and connect. And Venus, who's quite ahead of the sun, and Mercury, who's in the caboose. So we have Venus leading the train, like she's going head on. But we also have Mars out of bounds. So Mars is not on the ecliptic, right? It's out of bounds. It's doing its own thing, right? So with Mars out of bound and it's in Gemini, getting that motivation, getting that energy to do things can be difficult. Getting the information might be difficult. Maybe we are wanting to have everything. We're wanting to identify exactly what it is that we want and exactly what it is where we want to go. This is where we have to have the courage. We have to have that courage of allowing ourselves to know who we are and release that of what that we've been hanging on to. It's that big F. It's, it's not that fuck you energy. It's that forgiveness energy. It's what I teach in Journey Club, right? We talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key. Many times we are thinking that forgiveness is something, well, I need to change the past, right? I need to change it. Or it's like, if I forgive that person, then I'm letting them off the hook. No, you're not letting them off the hook. You're letting yourself off the hook of the energies that you have been hanging on to for so long. And when you release that energy, when you allow yourself to really look at it, why am I hanging on to it? Then you're able to move into this motion. And that's where Saturn will bring in the restrictions, right? Just like Saturn and Pluto did in Capricorn. It's like, okay, you want to stay here, you can stay here, right? There's restrictions and stuff of you staying in this part. We're going to restrict you. And here's Saturn in Aquarius. Well, if you want to stay here, I'm trying to give you the foundations. I'm trying to show you this newness, this new way of building what it is that you're imagining. And if you are wanting to just hang on to things that no longer serve you, then you're going to find that you're going to be going into a pattern of very much a self-sabotage, or you might be finding that, because Neptune will take you into a place of delusions and making you feel out of sorts. Now, the other piece too is that we have Uranus. Of course, Uranus has to come in because, he just does. It's in a semi-square to the point of where Fukushima happened. Fukushima happened when Uranus went into Aries. Okay, so when Uranus went into Aries, that was the Fukushima. And let's see if it'll go back up for me. Oh, let's see. I got the Fukushima. Let's see if it'll pull that up for me. Anyways, it was when and Jupiter was in Aries, and there was a lot of energy, and Neptune went into Aries. So there's a semi-sextile there to went with the Fukushima energy. And now we are hearing about them wanting to take all the nuclear waste and put it into the ocean. This is also where we can feel a lot of electrical energy. So we need to be on alert, our nervous system. So again, this is letting go and not playing the past, because in playing the past can really aggravate us, can really bring in the word self-centered comes in. The other thing that can come in is that we are not filling our own cups. We are not filling what it is that we truly need in order for us to swim forward, in order for us to go forward. This is where, when we look at the love and the compassion, because that is where, especially with Neptune, bringing in that love and compassion and forgiveness. And Mercury is trining Mars, where we want to have that clarity. We're wanting to bring in the clarity, but it's difficult right now to have all that clarity. So we have to allow ourselves to not rush ahead. We want to rush ahead. We want to get doing these things. We want to have these things done. Want to do it now. You can't. The energies are not there for you to push ahead. Remember, this is what's so great about astrology, because it shows you, okay, this is a time, this is a moodling time, this is a time of looking at, especially for this year. This is a point, especially where Saturn is. It's a point of you really looking at what it is that you want to create, and putting those steps together, especially when it goes into 1 degree. That 1 degree. So we're at the ending of cycles and new beginnings. So we're in this mishmash of energy right now. And the mishmash of this energy is really a lot getting us to look at what and identify and let go and take the courage of who we are. Allow ourselves to step into that courage of who we are. And it's that we can't rush, we can't go through this because there is so much unpredictability is there. So if you're going to be just deciding to go down this dark alley and just rush through this dark alley just because you think, without understanding there are obstacles down there, without really planning and strategizing your goals on what it takes to do it. So it's like, if you're wanting to build a business, what do you need to do to build a business? Right? What are the tools do you need? What do you need to acquire? Maybe there's education that you need to do, right? This is a time of community. This is a time of coming together, of allowing yourself to be the truth of who you are within that community. And as you are doing this, it's like 1 degree in of Aquarius is about a market. It's about this market coming together, about us coming together and showing our wares, showing the things that we can do and sharing them. It's not about monopolizing, it's not about manipulating, and it's not about controlling. It's about creating. And in creating this, we're allowing for this beautiful energy to come forth. And that's, the more that we start to focus on that, the more we are able to put forward what we need to be putting forward in our lives. Now, this is where, especially with, I'm looking at what okay. So with Venus moving into Aries, she's in her detriment, and she does do that semi-square to Uranus. And this is to be prepared to wake up and shake up the energies in relationships, in finances, perhaps even in world events, because that's the Fukushima point. So there is this energy of awakening. That's what Uranus does. It shakes you up. It awakens you. It's in Earth. Now, also in Earth, sometimes it takes a while for that vibration to go out. So that vibration may not go out as fast as what you would like it to go out because it is in Earth. So this is where these two are transiting this Aries degree point, and Venus at 0 degrees, Uranus separating slowly from the precise at mid-fixed degree of 15 Taurus. They correlate it with the collective and political events, not just personal ones. So this is also what we are going to be seeing on the political field. We're going to be seeing things like we are already seeing, PMs, presidents step down. We are also seeing where changes and shifted. We just saw for YouTube, we just saw the CEO step down from YouTube. So this is where we're seeing these things start to happen, right? The other thing is that with the correlation and with political events, not just personal ones, a cursor look at the news shows Biden's visited Ukraine while China is visiting Russia. So I feel a political or symbolic chess game is ensuring. Something is happening there, that, there is something at play. And this is where we have to really, it's taking a look. What is the chess game at play? Taking a look at a lot of the news that has been happening lately. There's been not only Ohio, but there's been several other chemical spills within the United States. 3, in fact, I believe. One was a trailer, a semi-trailer, and then there was some kind of explosion happening as well. So we're seeing these disruptions. We're seeing these things come about. And this is part of the unpredictability. This is where it's, where we have to let go and not be playing in the past and allow ourselves to move forward in ways and begin to create what we need to create within our world and set those points in motion. So there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack this week. There's a lot of there's there's a lot to unpack this week. Just let me go through my notes here. So we also, all right, the Jupiter, Chiron, and Eris. So beginning to focus to wounding and healing, activism, and taking a stand on truth. So we're going to find some very uprooting people standing up to things that are happening within their government, within their country, and reacting. I think Canada needs to really have some kind of stand up point with a lot of things that are going on. And it's, I posted something on my Facebook of what they discovered in Chilliwack, which was utterly disgusting. A book. And there's things that are happening within the medical system on, our that they are trying to push in. So there's, we have to be aware of these things. You can't go around with your head in the sand. This is about really, again, we're coming into that spiritual part. That spiritual part is where we are taking accountability, not only for ourselves, but the people around us. We're taking accountability for our community, right? And this is where and with Pluto going into Aquarius, it is that accountability. Now, when Pluto goes into a sign, it's disruptive. He goes in there to disrupt everything that has been building up over the last few years, and he goes into the next sign. It's like a huge explosion that happens with things that we were not paying attention to, with things that needed to be seen. So when he entered Capricorn in 2008, there was a buildup to the financial system falling apart. There was a buildup of seeing the inflation that was going on. And then from 2008 to now, we have seen how this is unfolded within our world and the dynamics of within the world. It is a chess game. All of these planets have to be in play, and it gives us more of an insight. But the beautiful thing is about when we start to really look into the astrology and we look into it, there is always a pattern. There's a pattern. The planets do and play a certain role everywhere they go. It's a very similar role. We know when two planets get together, certain things happen. We understand that, with Saturn and Neptune, we know that there's going to be a new religious energy coming in, a new spirituality of energy that's going to bring in a foundational work. Is that foundational work, is that new foundational work having to do with Aquarius scientific? What is the scientific energy with the spiritual world? How does that correlate? How does that correlate within our own selves? There's a positive side to this. There's a negative side to this. When we start looking at the negative side, of course, there's that AI, the soullessness. This is where we are beginning to really look at what is the truth of our soul, what is the truth of our divinity within this world, and how bringing in that divinity into this world, bringing it into our earth walk, how are we wanting to manifest it? How are we wanting to create within our truth? And looking at that creation within our own truth. And this is not defining our truth with being a mother, with being a wife, with being, a worker here or worker there. This is defining our own selves within who we are. We could call it the blue flame. That blue flame of saying, no, this is my truth. I am the activist. I am the one. I am the proclaimer. I am the mystic. I am the one who wants to step out and say, yeah, I want to go out and bring comedy to the world. This is stepping out onto that stage and bringing it down concrete into our own reality, which is Saturn. This is allowing ourselves to look at, our wounds and not taking our wounds and being the Cancerian and having them on our you know, on our sleeve all the time and saying, "Oh, woe is me. Look at all the things I've done. Look at all the things I've gone through." Yeah, okay, we've all gone through shit. But how are we working through that? How are we taking the responsibility to go through that? Because as Venus, at 0 degrees Aries, and she does that semi-square to Uranus, this is creating tension between the goddess of love and beauty and rebellion and revolution. I'm thinking as soon as I, say that, the very first, I think of Joan of Arc, young, beautiful goddess coming forward in a very rebellious time, right? This Venus Uranus is a transit of unexpected change and shifts in relationships and finances. And with Venus at Aries point and Uranus still separating from it, this is shifting. This is the world, our mundane lives, and more. This is shifting so much beneath us and shaking the foundations up, because the foundations need to be shaken up. This could be another shakeup when it comes to, in a physical mundane thing. It could be an earthquake. It's Uranus, so it could be uranium. This could be something else, right? So we had that Fukushima energy. The earthquake shook a nuclear reactor. This could be something else that is going to be coming in and shaking the foundations up, right? So we have to be in the awareness of others, and commitments to them is the key. What are we, finding that balance within ourselves, finding that truth within ourselves. And when we find that truth within ourselves, this brings in an awareness of saying, okay, this is what I need to be doing. I need to be continually doing, for me, continually doing my scopes, continually doing, my readings and stepping out. I got to get out of this funk, this whatever it is, to step into that light, step out of the darkness and into the light and continue that on. Many times it's not easy. It's not easy to get up early in the morning if you're a farmer and feed the cows and break up the ice in the for the water and things like that. It's not easy to do things like that, but this is a commitment that you've made. This is where you have to sort of shake it off and do it. If you got an overextensive bills, it's not sitting there and in the middle of the room and saying, I'm going to manifest, I'm going to go buy a lottery and sit there and do kumbaya over the lottery and hope that's going to fix it. Sure, buy the lottery, yes, but don't utilize that as the only thing, right? It's like, now I need to take the steps to do other things in my life. Maybe it's getting a job, maybe it's getting a second job, maybe it's looking at different side gigs. What is it that you need to do to create the prosperity within your life? And this is shaking this up. Oh, it Chinook, BC. It was a TikTok that I posted, and it had to do with a book that they brought into the elementary school, about adults being bad to children. And it was a book that made it look good. That's the best way I could say it on this channel. So that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, I'm putting lipstick on it, people. So that's what it was about. And it's on my Facebook. It's on, because I don't post very much anymore there. So you would be able to find it quite easily. It's still there. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. It is. It's when you start to see things like that, and you start to see, um when it comes to sexuality, um when it comes to um morals not being a part of everyday life, When you start to see things like that, that's where you start to see the downfall and the detriment of society. And this is where when you look at Saturn saying, okay, we got to move forward. We got to move forward into this newness, this new light in a world that we want to create. In a world that we want to create with love and harmony and peace, because that's what Pisces is. Pisces is about love and harmony and peace and forgiveness. And if you want to take it to the negative side, if you want to take it to the detriment side, it brings in the seediness, it brings in, and my word is going to be the black mold. It brings in that black mold because it brings in ailments and other things that come in. And this is where, this is why I've always said awareness is key. Um, we want to best infuse, some new energy into this stagnant energy that's there within the world and situations. And this is why things happen like an earthquake. This is why things explode. This is why, we have these things happen on earth, is because it's an awakening, basically. We are so dense at times that we are not looking at, we get very focused on just, my world. And this is like looking at, no, you can't just focus on your world. Like the whole thing in Ohio, how much environmental, like where are the environmentalists, that go and disrupt everything? Why aren't they there? So this is like, oh, wow, they're not out for the goodness of the earth. They're out for some other matter, right? And this is, when we're going to be seeing, creating tension between the mind and the intellect, and the rebel and the revolutionary, that's going to be coming up. And that's with Mercury in Aquarius, and it's squaring Uranus. So Uranus is coming in again. Mercury is the lower mind and Uranus is the higher mind. And so we can have some huge realizations and revelations going on during this week. But because of the tense nature of the square, it could be unexpected, it could be sudden, it could be insights, revelation. So we need to stay open to the truth, right? We need to stay open to that truth and speaking the truth and being willing to change our rigid ideas. And that's a big one, because so much in our society, nobody wants to sit and listen to the other side. They want to cut them off. They want to, disrupt them in some way. And so the truth doesn't want to come out. They don't want to realize that. And with Mercury going into Aquarius and Mars in Gemini, aligning the mind and the intellect with will and the warrior planet. So we may see an activation of more warrior-like energy this week. More energy that's coming in that is bringing in some Uranian and Plutonian energy. You can put your ideas with that. This is where, listening to the truth and being shared, our minds are driven and able to set things in motion with Mars now in direction. So this is about our relationship, our friendship, our community connections, our social alliances, our focus. This is getting clarity on this, getting clarity on what we need to be doing as we are stepping forward. Many times this is hard work. This is why you can get very lost in the delusion. This is where you can get lost in the propaganda, and and everything get shoved under the rug. And with Aquarius in a semi-square with Chiron, Saturn, and this is creating tension between the lords of karma and the wounded healer. So who's wounded at this time? Who's feeling wounded? On the world front, there's many wounds out there in many countries that they're feeling wounded, but the lords of karma are coming back for them. So there's energies that are there that are saying, okay, you haven't been so nice to other people, and now you're trying to play this game. This is awakening for people to really understand. It's not to see the truth of what is going to be happening. And the thing is that between the two that unfold throughout 2023, this Lord of Karma and the Wounded Healer, but it is only one with the square in Uranus and the other two semi-squares, and semi-squares are hard, are with Saturn and Pisces, and Saturn and Chiron are what are heavy hitters. And these heavy hitters are coming in with the feeling of our humanity through limitations, restrictions, wounds, pains, and health issues. We're going to start seeing more health issues starting to rise up this week, and other people with health issues. In my new moon reading, I was saying to many, if you've been avoiding going to the doctor for whatever reason, a pap smear or whatever, because you're embarrassed, or prostate, whatever, go get it. If you have been feeling this is what you need to get done, or you've been feeling something there, this is your intuition trying to get you to go and take a look at it. Doesn't mean, I mean, the thing is that you might be afraid of Western medicine. There's beautiful Ayurvedic medicine that you could go into, Chinese medicine that you could go into. We are so formulated that this is the only way we can do things, but it's not. So this is also looking into, within friendships and community connections, but also our hopes and dreams is time to let something or someone go. Chiron in Aries is asking us to heal around our will, drive, and ego. Some of us need to tone down our aggressive and selfishness. Others need to get in touch with our suppressed anger and rage. Some people are very nice and they're like these cute little fairies that go along the road and like la 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 la. Oh, I can't be angry. Oh no, I'll just love him. No, if you're feeling that anger, if you're feeling, and it's like, no, this is wrong. I'm not putting up with this shit. Stuff in Chilliwack. I ain't putting up with that shit. If I see that in my grandson's school, well, fuck that. There's going to be a huge outcry. Definitely, definitely. I'm doing the testing and hoping the best and preparing for the worst. Definitely. And that's what you have to do. And then you have to sit and you have to go into your healing and allow for the healing, right? Allow for this soothing healing to happen for yourself, right? Because there's many times, especially as women, we hold things, we hold parts in our body. And it comes and it manifests in many different ways. It manifests either in breast cancer or, when it comes to the uterus, ovarian cancer, because those are two areas that we breathe life, right? We give life, and sometimes that could be restricted within us in some way. So this is a way of healing and acknowledging that, and where maybe we have gone off on a road that wasn't healthy for us, and now we have to make the changes, and this is an awakening for the changes. Some of them can be brutal, others could be just a gentle twig, just to push us. So we need to pay attention. This is very important, to pay attention. And what is coming up is showing you what the edge is. So pay attention. This is a week of paying attention to the craziness, the aggression. This is about paying attention to what what is not healthy in our life, and the life affirming, or what the root and the foundation of something. This is very important, to look at the root and the foundation of something. Jupiter in Aries squares now, Pallas Athena. This is coming in, creating tension between the planets of expansion and excess. So if you start to see, okay, all of this is happening on Earth, what is going? There's a wisdom and warrior of goddess that comes in, and she is, and the last week after the underworld journey began, Jupiter's link with her is firing up. Jupiter, Zeus, is her father. He gave birth to her through his mind. This is where this firing, her final forward journey over an area of the sky that she's been navigating. Jupiter and Pallas is a great big picture of awareness, a tense of nature, the aspects, the shocking of and destabilization. Things have to be destabilized in order for them to come together. Things have to break in order for us to see that, okay, these pieces weren't put together very well. This is looking, and this is shocking, and this is destabilizing. Emotions are going to be high this week. There's going to be a lot of anger. There's going to be a lot of words. We're going to see it a lot on the political front. We're going to see it a lot in the world. We will see it within, say, your grocery shopping. You're going to see road rage. You're going to see, because it's in the collective consciousness of this energy. How do we utilize it? How do we look at it, embrace it, and release it? And if we can release that rage, if we can release it into the light, we can change it into something more beautiful and something more manageable that we can work with. But we do not harm, but take no shit, right? So by Friday, this is where the quincunx comes in. And quincunxes aren't easy. Trust me, I have like 3 of them in my chart, and I learned to deal with them. It's energizing that Jupiter in South Node. And Vesta, the priestess asteroid of Sirius, and or not Sirius, she's a Vesta is the priestess goddess. And in Aries, she is deeply devoted to take sacred action. So there's a part that's coming in that's saying, okay, we could see something very triggering happen this week that is going to have things move in a new direction. We could see things happening where all of a sudden we have to do, work in a different way than what we've been working with. And this is where, with Vesta and the South Node, our Mars ruled signs, we need to be aware of our emotions, our anger, and our rage, and how they run us. And are we trigger happy and aggressive, or are we repressing or suppressing our fire? So making sure we are devoted to healthy expressions and healthy actions. And Venus, reactive to the combative energies is key. So this is looking at how are we dealing with our rage? How are we dealing with our own anger, our own fears? Are we addressing them, or are we avoiding them? Right? Are we just, spiritually bypassing? For you, Lexi, if you're angry with everything, yeah, be angry, yell, scream, and say, fuck it. All right. Then start saying, okay, instead of sitting around and waiting, saying, what can I start to do to really make changes in my life? And I would start honestly, looking to find out what your dosha is, your Ayurvedic dosha, and look into the Ayurvedic. What is it? What kind of foods should I be eating? What kind of things should I be having around me? What are the changes do I need to make within my life? And making changes in your life isn't easy. It isn't. This means that, all of a sudden it's like, okay, I can't eat my favorite chocolate cake anymore. Okay, fine. Dosha, DOSHA. And we can have more than one dosha. Like we can have a combination of a dosha. So, and this is where you start to find out, okay, what is it? So through that could be like, okay, I need to start going to a chiropractor. I need to start, getting, feng shui, or whatever, what other things I need to start entering into my life. Or maybe I have too much fire energy within me and I need to release that fire energy. So what do I need to do? I need to bring in things that are more savory into my life, more sweet into my life. So these are the things to start to really look and pay attention to. The other part too is with this, how it is informed in the present trajectory, where it will take us to the future. Opportunities to reflect and see past and future through new eyes is incoming. So pay attention. And as we go into the rest, we have that quincunx of the South Node, and is really creating tension between the goddess of love and beauty and the South Node karma. South Node of karma, which is Scorpio, it's yucky. It's yucky. Just saying. That's that's the tail of the dragon. That's where all this shit lies. Do you want to sit there and shit? This is where the 2 benefits in the sign of Mars going ahead with the karmic sun, the South Node. There can be a lot of coming up to negative. The good news is Venus rules the North Node and is aspecting in a semi-sextile. So this is saying we're going to be unshoveling a lot of shit this week. A lot of shit, and going through it and saying, okay, what is unresolved? So offers the chance to see what from the past is unresolved. What haven't you resolved in your past? I mean, I know this week, fuck, from our car being impounded, which is fucking embarrassing. And I know the reasons why, to having to get it out of there. And the only way I could get it out is I had to get a payday loan, which is another thing I would never thought I'd wanted to do. But I had to go get one because I couldn't pay for it any other way, to where we're going to have to really financially stretch things further than what we have been in order for us to get it in, insured, and everything else that has to get paid off. And it has to be done now. It's not one, oh, you could do little payments here. No, it has to be done now. So it's looking at that, being angry, yeah, pissed off. Okay, but what do I have to do about it? This is where, okay, what other things do I have to do? So now I'm rethinking of, do I get another part-time job, or do I, what are the things that I need to start looking at and doing? So this is a week of looking at and reanalyzing. But the good news is Venus rules the North Node. So on offer is a chance to see what from the past is unresolved and the dead end. And this is an evolutionary path towards future, and asking us for one thing we have to deal with in the shadow of the masculine essence. So this is where the energy that takes dominance, control, focus, and power too much, the me energy without the balance of the we throws the world and the relationships off balance. So turning into what needs to be faced and released, and sometimes that is so scary, but then it's changing our way of thinking, changing the way that we do things, right? So Mercury and Aquarius, this is where you can't just sit and say, oh, I'm not going to do that. That's so silly. Or, oh, I'm too tired. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. I fall into those things so easily and not wanting to do shit. But right now, this is our to think it through while our heart is ready to take action. Right? Our heart is there. This is balance, of course, and a key is communication. And this can get edgy. This can make sure that you are allowing yourself to both think and feel. So that, I mean, this is air and water. This is intuition and intellect coming together, but the intuition comes before the intellect. It's that hunch, it's that energy. So we have to go with that and say, okay, this is what we want to go. But sometimes we get to where it's like, we don't want to deal with it. So we don't want to deal with whatever the issue is at hand, because we're afraid of something. We're afraid of being judged. We're afraid that, oh my God, someone, somebody's not going to like me. They're going to laugh at me, whatever it is. But that's them. Let them laugh, let them judge, let them do whatever they need to do, because you need to deal with your cup and what you need to fill your cup with. The saucer's theirs. If there's anything in the saucer, I'll give you it. But if there's nothing in the saucer, I can't give you fuck all. That's where it is. And it's an intense week, baby. It's an intense week, but it's a week that is really projecting us into the newness, into a light, into a new revelation. These are timelines that are coming in all at once, that are like bloody hard timelines, like timeline of World War II, timeline of Hitler's youth, timeline of Fukushima. We this is where it's like, okay, we have this happening now. What are we going to do? How are we going to step forward within our own selves and our creativity to create something beautiful within our life and face it? This is where it's oh, my dog. anyways, got to go deal with the dog. But this is coming in and facing a lot of things. So got to go deal with the dog because the dog's having issues, of course. And I got to go with that thing. So, anyways, you guys have a beautiful day. Love having a dog. If you want to book a reading, definitely get a hold of me to book a reading. And I may be posting some classes coming up. So we'll see that coming up. And it will be, so if you're not on my mailing list, because that's where I'll be posting it, it'll be going through my mailing list. So have a blessed one. And we'll talk to you guys very soon. God bless and the goddess bless you. Bye-bye. Sending you lots of positive energy, Lexi, and everyone else.